It's Heidz again. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I am filming on a Friday right now, end of work week, thankfully. Welcome if you haven't been before. Hope you stick around. Welcome back for anybody that has watched some of my videos. This is a fairly new YouTube channel, BookTube, if you will. Grab yourself a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, whatever your beverage of choice is. Got my domestic as hell mug out. One of my friends got this for me a couple years for, I think, Christmas, and I just adore it. I think it's so much fun. So wanted to have a little chat, and this might be a hot take, if you will. Some people might call my opinions a hot take. Some of you might agree with them. That's for you to decide. But I bookshop pretty regularly, right? I love me some books, love to go book shopping, and I also enjoy people watching. And as I'm out and about, I just like, hey, like, see that cute couple over there. Oh, like there's an older lady over there. Oh, there's like a mom and her kids, whatever. So about a month and a half ago, I would say, I was out and I happened to see a father and daughter book shopping, which I thought was adorable, right? Adorable. I'm like, you're getting some father and daughter time in, you know, doing some like reading, well, you know, picking up some books to do some reading, which I love. I love that people are reading, especially younger people, like, keep on reading. We want you to keep reading. And I was just like, that's so cute. I just happened to peek in the girl's basket. And now, mind you, this girl was at max 12 years old. At absolute max 12 years old. She had a copy of Icebreakers in her basket. And that is by Hannah Grace. I know that's a very popular book right now on BookTube, you know, TikTok, etc., etc., etc. I have not personally read that book, but I have seen a lot of reviews of the book. And I am aware that that is a very spicy book. It is a very spicy book. And I just kind of sat there and I'm like, why is a 12-year-old picking up Icebreakers? That's really weird, because that is not an appropriate book for a 12-year-old. But I didn't say anything, and it's not my place to be in other people's business like that. But I just kind of like side-eyed the dad. I was like, sir, like, do you know what that book is? And I feel like this is becoming like a more common thing, maybe not. I know when I was a tween, I was probably reading things that I shouldn't have been reading. Circa fan fiction. We all know what was on circa fan fiction. So again, that was about a month and a half ago. Fast forward to, I think, 2 weekends ago, I was out book shopping again. I know, wild. And we were having like an indie book, like for like the indie book day, like there was like an indie book crawl. So we were at a bunch of different places, and I was in the adult romance section because I love me some adult romance. And there was again, could not have been more than 12, 13 max on, like, you know, like a shelf over, right? You can see her. Tell me how she was literally looking at Katie Roberts books. If you don't know who Katie Roberts is, I personally would consider her romance dark romance. Some people might not consider her dark romance. She's probably most known for the Dark Olympus series, like, so oh, what's the Persephone one? No, I'm not gonna be able to remember it. But the Dark Olympus series. Another one that's become like, it's getting more popularity, I would say, right now, is the Court of the Vampire Queen. And her books are very, like, they're smut. Like, it's smut. That's what it is. And it is not light. It is dark romance. So I am like side-eyeing this 12-year-old looking at these books. And I was like, she's not going to pick up that book. Like, I've read a couple of her books, and even I'm like, ooh, like, and I'm not like a prude. Like, I don't consider myself like, I don't get upset by many things. Like, I just don't. So if I'm kind of like doing a little pearl clutch moment while reading a book, like, it's spicy. It's got some spice to it. So the fact that I was sitting here like watching, and I was like, why is this little girl looking at this book? And then I'm presuming maybe her mother came over and was like, oh, is that what you're going to get? Girl was walking out of there with a Katie Roberts book. I went over to my friends and I was like, tell me how this maybe 12-year-old just picked up a Katie Roberts book. Amazed. Because again, not appropriate for a 12-year-old, in my opinion. In my opinion. Remember, this is my opinion. Again, not that I was not reading questionable things as a youngin', but girl's in therapy today, so take that for what it's worth. Take that for what it's worth. So, anyways, I digress on that. So I've been noticing, like, in my personal my real life experiences, that I've noticed young tweens, is what I would call them, picking up books that I would not personally be comfortable recommending to a tween. Like, I have a bunch of little cousins and stuff, and if one of them's like, hey Heidi, I really want like a romance book, those would not be it. That would not be my choice for a 11, 12-year-old, personally. And so I kind of started meandering around the internet a little bit, kind of seeing, is this like a common trend? Is this not a common trend? It probably is anymore. I did find a article that was posted by The Guardian, so take that for what it's worth. And it was called Children Exposed to Spicy Adult Fiction by BookTube Influencers. And it's basically talking about how children are now wanting to buy books because of books that are recommended to them on BookTok. And while I get, like, what do I want to say here? I feel like the article was almost blaming influencers and like content creators for suggesting that book to tweens. And I just thought that was kind of a wild take personally on that, because I feel, this is again my personal opinion, and this is where we might be getting into the hot takes here. I feel that parents need to be monitoring their children more if they don't want their children to read those types of books. Like, there's been, I guess, a small amount of like outcry by parents about like book covers and influencers talking about spicy books and all of this kind of stuff. And my thing is, parents, the internet is like content creators are going to create content. And if you don't want your child to see that content, then you as a parent really need to be the ones, you need to be like monitoring that, because the internet is freeform, and your kids, if that's what they like wind up getting into, I don't really know if we can be blaming that on, I don't know if we can be like pointing the finger at influencers and content creators, because they're just creating content. They're not saying like, hey, like, tweens, maybe you should read this spicy read. I don't think like an influencer is going to be like, hey, 12-year-old, please read Haunting Adeline. If I ever saw an influencer saying that, I would be the first one to speak up and be like, hey, no, that's a terrible idea. We're not going to suggest that. And I feel like if anybody were to be like, hey, tweens, like, please read these like inappropriate books, I feel like the book community would speak up and say, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Another thing that I saw was that there's like a lot of outcry, if you will. Maybe not like a lot, but like enough outcry or like anger by parents about book covers. And what I mean by that is, so we have Book Lovers by Emily Henry. And I also have like Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. And both of these have spice in it. I wouldn't say that these are like overly spicy, but both of these books do have spice in it. And obviously, like, this is a fun cover. Like, it's colorful and it's cartoon-esque. And I guess parents are upset because they feel like this is marketed towards children because of what the cover looks like. If you go into any bookstore, you're not going to find an Ali Hazelwood in the children's section. You're not going to find an Emily Henry in the children's section. Or any other adult romance book that has a cover in this realm that's going to be in the children's section. So, like, if you're at, like, a Barnes & Noble and you're meandering around and your child is meandering around, they have it sectioned where it's like, hey, this is the kids section. That's the adult section. Here's kind of like the young adult section. If your child is picking up something that looks like this, but it's still sitting in the adult section of the store, that's really on you as a parent. Like, this isn't sitting in the children's section. Like, this isn't sitting by Harry Potter. Like, it's not sitting by Harry Potter. Like, I promise you. And if it is, either somebody was playing a prank, or somebody moved stuff accidentally, or somebody just, like, did one of those, like, hey, I don't want that book anymore, dropped it off, and, like, moved on with their day. But it's not, like, labeled there. So I just find it funny that there's, like, an outcry because of, like, influencers doing their job and content creators doing their job, creating content about books that they recommend. Like, it's not their fault your child saw that and now wants to read the book. Like, they're just doing their job. Again, the people that create these covers are doing their job. This is not marketed towards children. Like, it's not. I don't know what else to say here. And quite frankly, I really appreciate these kind of covers. I'm so glad that we've gotten away from those super, super cringy, like naked, like half naked men with their abs out, like staring at you on the cover. Because I hate those books. Like, I will tell you, if you are trying to market a book towards me and it has a half naked man on it with his abs out, I'm immediately not buying that book. It's an immediate no for me. I hate those kind of covers. They're cringy. I don't like looking at them. So this marketing is working because I want to pick this up. Adults don't want to, as a full-grown adult, I want to see a half-naked man on the front of a cover. And I don't want to take that in public either. Like, you know, even if I were to be interested in that, like, I don't want to take that in public. Like, this is so much easier to go out in a public place with. So, like, come on. So I just find it really funny that, like, parents are pointing the finger at the publishers as well as, like, influencers and content creators, as opposed to taking, like, the responsibility of what their kids are consuming as their own responsibility. Like, it is your responsibility as a parent to monitor your child, ultimately. And I know a lot of people, like, you know, people might hear that and they might be like, Heidi, like, that's harsh, like, that's mean, that's whatever. But like, they're your child. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I'm gonna just give it to you straight. Like, they're your children. Like, if you don't want them to be reading inappropriate books, don't let them read inappropriate books. Now, I do know there's always the argument that if a child wants it enough, they will get it, and there's only so much parents can do. And that's true. Again, when I was a tween, I was on fan fiction, reading all sorts of wild stuff. And I did see when I was meandering around the TikTok, I was seeing some stuff about like how to hide your, like, you know, like tweens were making videos of like where to hide your books from your parents, or like how to hide like the book covers from your parents. So that, I mean, it's a very real thing that like kids are still going to try to get a hold of the books, and they're going to try to get a hold of things. Like, even as a parent, if you say, hey, like, I don't want you reading this, like, kids are kids. Like, there's only a, like, so while yes, I think it's the parent's responsibility, you can still only do so much. Because again, like, I know when I was a tween and a teen, I was out there doing some wild stuff. I was reading all sorts of stuff. I had no filters on the internet. Heidi was just out there doing what she wanted. She was doing what she wanted, and that was kind of that. So I will say, like, yes, like, it also, like, there is, like, the twofold of kids. If kids want to get it bad enough, they're going to get it. But I do think that it's really interesting to see this phenomenon, which it's not, I wouldn't say necessarily new, because, like, we've always had people kind of complain about, like, banned books and all of that. But now, like, that they're pointing the finger at, like, influencers and content creators, and, oh, well, the picture looks like it's designed for children. Like, I just feel like it's just, like, pointing the finger at somebody else when you should be taking the responsibility as a parent, if you don't want your, like, kids to be consuming that content. So, I don't know. I don't know if this is a hot take. I don't know if this was me just getting on here and doing a word vomit, because sometimes I be doing a word vomit, but I just thought it was interesting that in the last month and a half, I've seen twice now where a tween in person, like, I have my eyes on them in person, was picking up a book I would not consider appropriate for a tween, and their parent was with them, or what I presume to be their parent was with them, buying them the book. Maybe do a little research on what the book is before you buy it for your kids. I don't know. We have Goodreads. There's people on, like, YouTube that will recommend or, you know, break down about every book you can think of at this point. If you really want to know what that like a book is about before you buy it for a child, do a quick Google search. I promise you somebody will be able to provide you with enough detail on whether or not you think it's appropriate. Go to Instagram and, like, look up a hashtag for a book. People, like, put, like, spice level ratings on there. People, you know, like, the information is there. Like, there's the information at your hand. You just got to go look for it. But again, I just thought it was interesting. Again, this might be a hot take. You might be like, Heidi, mind your own business. Nobody cares about your opinion, which, fair enough. But it's 2024, and it's the internet. And anybody can put an opinion out online and like it or scroll past it. It's really on you. But again, just some of my own personal experiences here recently that I thought was kind of interesting. So, yeah, Heidi's maybe hot take for the day, or not hot take for the day. Depends on who you are. So yeah, that's going to be it for today. Just wanted to share my thoughts on that. And I hope that you like the content. I hope that if you are interested in more book content, go ahead and like, subscribe, throw a comment down there, whether or not you agree, disagree. Be polite though. I mean, try to be at least a little polite. Otherwise, I'll just delete your comment because I don't care that much. But yeah, that's where we are today. So everybody have a wonderful rest of their day.